In the early days of cinema, using color in a film was a deliberate choice made by filmmakers, whether it was through the use of filters or through the rigorous process of painting each individual frame. Cinematographer Roger Deakins has once said that it's easier to make color look good, but harder to make it serve the story, which brings me to discuss the enhancement aspect of colors within films. This video essay will focus on the invention of color grading and why it is a crucial tool for enhancing your visual storytelling within films. For the sake of brevity, this video essay will be divided into two chapters, color grading and scene analysis. Let's talk a little bit about what color grading really is. So to put it simply, it's not just changing colors. Color grading is a post-production process centered entirely on altering the color qualities around an image you've captured. This includes contrast, sharpness, blackness depth, white balancing, color overlays / spotlights, and overall saturation. I know this is a lot, but this will allow certain colors to visually stand out more significantly. Color grading has a drastic effect on a film's overall tone, emotional impact, and storytelling. It is an essential part of video editing, which makes it a revolutionary invention within the history of film production. For example, here are two shots of my toilet both shot on the same camera. First shot is seen to have a much colder tone, has accentuated the blue values, which makes the toilet look like it's located inside a mental asylum, but the second shot has a higher vibrance with increased green values, which makes it look like a scene out of Matrix. Color grading also helps to keep a consistent look that can be achieved throughout a scene. Color grading was originally a separate post-production process altogether, but as editing softwares began catching up to dedicated machines, the lines between video editor and color grader have been blurred. Color grading was originally done by painting frame by frame and was very labor intensive. For instance, in 1902, Trip to the Moon directed by George Méliès was released, which took a team of workers to paint each single frame. However, as time passed, all the color grading was done with machines like Hazeltine, which could alter the RGB values but was limited to being able to control only certain areas of the frame. Then by the 2000s, digital color grading came out, bringing the full color manipulation with moving images, therefore granting creative freedom to the filmmakers. Now you can even color grade your footage with softwares that could be accessed on your computers and laptops as part of your editing system. Zambian Welsh director Rangano Nyoni approaches color grading in a very peculiar way in her film I Am Not a Witch, which was released in 2017. The story mainly revolves around a young girl who is sentenced to life imprisonment at a state-run witch camp, which the director aimed to portray as a satire film which addresses a country's history of misogyny. I felt that this movie, as well as the scene I am about to examine, were the best representation of utilizing color grading in a social control context to tell a story. 5 minutes into the film, we're exposed to this scene, where Shula, the main character, is sitting down listening to how the lady and the rest of the village are calling her a witch and basically resenting her arrival upon them. Let's observe how color was manipulated in this scene. Firstly, we have to establish the fact that the scene seems to be utilizing natural light, as the faces of the subjects in this medium shot are shown to have very clear and natural tone, with reflection on the face that you can actually see, yet the group of people framed behind are shown to have a very dull color, even though some are wearing clothes with bright colors such as orange. In addition, even the police officers' clothes are seen to have a very tiresome gray color. This wouldn't be happening without color grading, as the natural light would have reflected the colors off as being very bright. Although this could possibly have been the works of cinematography, the details within the scene make it believable that it was done through digital color grading, as the color of the costume in the scene looked almost faded. This color of the scene achieved through color grading implies the dull response to the misogyny as well as violent crimes inflicted upon women in Africa. The quiet colors amidst the furious vent by the village woman can be viewed as the way women are silenced. In an article by IndieWire, the director has actually explicitly said that all of the filmmakers I love are those who have had control over their work. I think that color grading is significant towards the history of film production due to the fact that as a filmmaker, having the ability to implement our own creative thought process to determine which color needs to be emphasized or toned down is vital when it comes to presenting a message, which is one of the fundamental aspects of being able to communicate an ongoing societal issue as a creative form. I argue that color grading should be one of the most vital elements to a consistent and meaningful film, as it grants creative freedom. Color has the potential to create a tone, change the meaning of a scene, and lure your audience to something important within the frame. It's not solely an aesthetic tool. It's a narrative one, which is why when we talk about topics which are suppressed sometimes, colors instead of words may be the most rational and creative approach you could take as a filmmaker.